Have you ever wondered what you are made of? Have you ever wondered what cells really are? Most likely not. You probably don't even care to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. This is an animal cell. This outside layer is called the cell membrane. It is a thin flexible barrier around the cell. The cell membrane regulates what enters and leaves the cell. The cell membrane is made up of a lipid bilayer, and in this bilayer there are protein channels. Many molecules pass through the cell membrane. These substances are transported by membrane proteins by down their concentration gradients, which is called passive transport. Often material crosses the cell membrane against a concentration, the material from the area of low concentration to an area of greater concentration. This is called active transport difference. As learned earlier, passive transport is when molecules pass through the cell membrane by membrane proteins by down their concentration gradients. Active transport requires energy, but passive transport does not require energy. Inside the cell there is the cytoplasm, which is a clear fluid inside the cell that is mostly composed of water and organic molecules. The cytoplasm holds all of the many important structures. We are coming up to the main controls. This is the nucleus. It controls most of the cell processes and it contains most of the DNA. The nucleus is covered by the nuclear envelope, which is a double membrane layer. It is dotted with thousands of nuclear pores. These allow materials to move in and out of the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, this granular material is called chromatin. It consists of DNA bound to protein. Most of the time chromatin is spread throughout the nucleus. Although when the cell divides, chromatin condenses to form chromosomes. This is a distinct thread-like structure containing the genetic of cells to the next generation. Inside, as you can see, is a small dense region known as the nucleus ribosomes, which you will learn what they do later. The ribosomes start here. These little dot things are called ribosomes. They make proteins. The ones floating around in the cell cytoplasm create proteins for the inside of the cell, and the ones attached to the endoplasmic reticulum create proteins for the outside of the cell.
The endoplasmic reticulum is an internal membrane system in which the components of the cell membrane are assembled and some proteins are modified. There are two kinds: the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum has the ribosomes, which it secretes glycoproteins, which are proteins covalently bonded to carbohydrates. The smooth ER does not have ribosomes attached to it. The job of the smooth ER is to synthesize lipids, metabolize carbohydrates, detoxify poison, and store calcium. These are called vesicles. There are two kinds: transport and secretory. The transports substances from the rough ER to our next stop, the Golgi apparatus. The secretory takes substances out of the cell. The Golgi because they aren't really needed, they store food material in animal cells. The vacuoles in animal cells aren't as important as they are in plant cells. This vacuole is called a central vacuole. In plant cells, it makes it possible for plants to support heavy structures like leaves and flowers. These are chloroplasts. They are responsible for the plant's green color. They use energy from sunlight to make energy-rich food molecules in a process we know as photosynthesis. This organelle's sort of like mitochondria, but don't be fooled, plant cells also have mitochondria. These organelles are only in plant cells. Plant cells don't have lysosomes, but they have peroxisomes. They do the same kind of job as lysosomes.
Both animal and plant cells are eukaryotes, which are cells that contain a nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. Some eukaryote cells have things called cilia, which are hundreds of hair-like projections that help the cell move. Also, they sometimes have flagella, which are whip-like projections that also help the cell move. Cell theory is one of the fundamental concepts of biology. It states that all living things are composed of cells. Cells are the basic units of structure and function in living things, and new cells are produced from existing cells. These statements were made by a range of scientists eager to learn about what makes up life. Now you know about cells. I hope you enjoyed our adventure, and if not, that's just your problem.